I didn't know how to learn that way.
You guys have practically been here from the start.
The second you walked into the school, you just knew that this was special.
They've seen the progress. They've seen them all through the years. And that's so nice for our kids to have all those connections.
Yeah. It's such a unique, special way of kids developing.
The town so generously supplements my child's education, giving to the foundation. We wanted that education for our children, and we understand that that's how we're going to get it.
The outcome are these children that go on to be these amazing adults, and you can't ask for more than that.
To just know that they have so many people in their corner.
It is beyond just making that whole person of a child.
Today we got volunteer extraordinaires. MaryAnn and Tonya, thanks for coming. And we just had to stop down and recast. We've been focused a lot on the vision, but we wanted to know where we came from. You guys have practically been here from the start. I was at the groundbreaking of this school. We've got some common friends, Scott and Kelly Bradley, and caught their vision early on and participated. So I want to hear from your words where you started with the school, and then walk me through your life here at the school. Let's start with you, Tonya.
Well, my husband and I are friends with Kelly and Scott. So Kelly kept coming up to us with a packet saying, we've got this school. We'd love for y'all to be a part of it. I only had one of the four that was in school at the time, and he was going into the second grade, and he was at a great school. And she just kept bringing the packet. And finally I was like, okay. So we went in on the lottery and didn't think anything about it. And then she called and said, we got in. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And I trusted them, and we went in. So it was, I think, first through fifth. And the school was beautiful, and hearing Kelly and Scott talk about it, the passion, meeting Barbara Brizuela, you just, all of a sudden you were in it. And from that point on, the staff, the teachers they had brought together, the second you walked into the school, you just knew that this was special. And the things that they had brought together, the whole learning what IB meant, and the IB traits.
When you first heard IB, what did you think?
Oh, I had no idea.
Okay.
And that was kind of sitting down with Kelly and Scott and hearing it from them.
And then coming through the process, what does it mean now looking back?
Oh my gosh, it is beyond just making that whole person of a child. Now I'm watching it from grown children and looking back at having three of them come through K up, where my oldest one started in second grade when the school began. But watching, they didn't even know that things they were learning and doing at a young age weren't necessarily normal, that things that were coming so naturally to them, I didn't even know how to teach them. And I recall so many times being a part of parent-teacher conferences and being so uncomfortable because I didn't know how to learn that way. And the kids would be asking me questions, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to think like that. It's such a unique, special way of kids developing even their brains to think and process a certain way. And it makes college, I'm so not worried. My youngest just graduated, and I'm just not even worried about him going to college because I know what a success he will be. And that first semester, I'm not concerned because he knows what he's doing. And that alone is huge because I was worried the first kid that I sent to college. And now after having three of them, I'm like, this is not a big thing. And I even had one play D1 soccer in college. And that's a lot. That's a full-time job. And he did great.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, that's huge. Academics was not an issue. So I don't know how else to word that into they're actually great human beings. And that to me, beyond the academics, you can't ask for more than that.
Tremendous testimony.
It is.
Thanks for sharing that. Tonya's history, tremendous endorsement of the International Baccalaureate program. Started at an early age. Is your experience the same? Did you start at an early age?
Ours was a little different because we were living in New Jersey. Our kids went to a phenomenal little school there, similar type where they all were at the same school. But my husband was transferred to Dallas, so we were looking for a similar environment. And my husband actually called and talked to Shelley about IB, and she sold him on the school. So this was we started in 2013. So our youngest was going into first grade. Our triplets were going into sixth grade. And then we had a ninth grader and an eighth grader as well.
Do you remember the words that he used when he conveyed that message to you? What excited him about the school?
He had me start looking up all about IB. And our children actually were going to go to an 11th and 12th grade IB program, but they weren't there yet. At our local high school did have that. So we were slightly familiar, but not the all K-12, which we thought sounded phenomenal based on the research we were doing. So we were excited. We loved the small community. We wanted that for our kids. Our son's eighth grade graduating class was 25. So the thought of going to, I think Carol at the time was 700, and we just thought that probably wouldn't be the best fit, be a little too dramatic for him. So we were really excited. We loved the campus. We came and visited. And again, we just thought it was a phenomenal place for the kids to academically be challenged, as well as the whole, volunteering, community spirit. The teachers would know our children. That's what we were looking for. Add in the whole IB part of it. Just we were very impressed.
We talk a lot about community and culture and parent involvement here. You both had expectations. Talk about where those expectations were and what was the results of after seeing your graduate for several graduates. Talk about what were you feeling during those time periods? Does all that reconcile with what your expectations were?
I think you get what you put in a lot of circumstances. So at this school in particular, you're given so many opportunities that I think you're not given at bigger schools. And it starts in kindergarten and it goes all the way through senior year, as we know. And especially at the beginning, we were starting from nothing. So it literally, we created whatever we needed at the time. And now you've got Friday Night Lights, and to watch how the growth has come into this entire thing, where I look back at the history of that and I'm like, this is the community that has been built off of just parent volunteers, that we were like, you know what, I want my kid to want to be here.
But the community that's what we're trying to create. And I think that's what you're talking about. MaryAnn, is your experience similar?
Yes. I mean, you start little by little, jumping in to volunteer where you see a sign up just to get comfortable. You start to meet people. You kind of learn where the needs are, or where you see your talents or your time can be put in and help. And I think from that you build, like Tonya said, that, obviously that was from very early on the smallest of pieces, but we still have all those needs, I think, at school, with parents jumping in and helping and starting new programs. And I think it's phenomenal, right? Like you say, the Graves with the Booster Club, and so many other people coming on in so many different ways, and getting the kids involved. I think I started to more so pick volunteer positions where I could help lead, where we involve the kids. That was just kind of the thing that I enjoyed. The high school kids, maybe the junior high kids, where they could get service hours, but they could also learn from the experience and help.
Would you label a parent here? What, if you had to put a label on one, what would you say? Volunteer extraordinaire has been a label. What would you say would be the primary label for a parent? Do you see the majority?
I think there's a lot of people that have done so much and put so much time in. But you also need the little pieces, just sign up for concession stand at a football game. There's, sign up for a shift at one of the fundraisers, Monster Mash, different things like that. And we had parents, even with senior stuff, who couldn't come in, but we could always depend on them to donate, the drinks for the event or, bring it in, drop it off. That's very helpful. There's, just like any event you have. It looks so easy that day, right? But it's not.
And sometimes it's getting over the awkwardness of coming up to the school and doing it. And if you can get past that little bit of, I don't know anyone. And I remember when the kids were really little, I don't necessarily feel awkward very often, but my absolute best friend in the world, I met the very first day of kindergarten of my second child. We're still best friends. And it was literally, we were standing there looking at the list to sign up, and we both put our names down at the same place, and we're like, let's do this together. And it was kind of that awkward, I don't want to do it alone, but it was like, we could figure this out together, and we're best friends still today. And there's a core group, and we call it, we're an old Westlake group of moms, but all of them, mine was the last one. Well, there's one more that has one more to graduate, but we still travel together.
Okay.
And there's probably 12 or 13 of us. And they've had graduates from years and years past, and we still all hang out, and it's from Westlake. Like, you can meet some amazing people. Like, we have plans of how we are still going to be together even after all of this. So I think there's so much to be given with the community, and you will see us around, even though we are done with our children being here.
You do. You meet so many people through it. And I think if you're afraid, it's very interesting too. Even if you're afraid, you think, the technology at the concession stands. Well, those middle schoolers can run circles around you with an iPad.
Yeah.
We've never had to touch it.
No, you are just managing the adult there to watch. So you should not be afraid of that process at all. Again, those kids have the technology way ahead of you. And
do you have similar connections with staff as you do with fellow parents?
Oh my gosh, they're some of my favorite people. Mm-hmm. In fact, I have been so touched over the years at how well they've kept up with my graduates, and they just love on them from the time. In fact, I reached out to the kindergarten teacher of 3 of my children and was telling her, sending pictures of the last one that just graduated, and she lives in Arkansas, and she's lovely, and I still talk to her. And it's 14 years ago, and she's still just a part of everything. And, I love coming on campus because you see everybody and know everybody. And I tease from the time, I guess, my oldest graduated, there's several of them. I'm like, you realize I have a first grader. Like, you have to be here this whole time until Levi gets up there. And lo and behold, some of them stayed. So I'm like, I need you for Levi. Like, you're that good. So yes, we love these people. And they're definitely, their hearts are in it. And they've allowed us to get to know them beyond just loving on our kids. So
very lucky. Huge. Just nice connections. And again, it is lovely to see them with our kids when they come back on campus for football games, alumni events, graduations. They know all the kids.
They truly care. Yeah.
I'm going to transition you to the gift of giving. Blacksmith is a major component of being a blacksmith. And we have a large number of families that have continuously supported the Blacksmith Fund over the years. Can you describe your process for walking through that decision to give? Is it an expectation? Do you feel like you're threatened? You need to give, lovingly give? Talk to us about how you're making those decisions.
From the beginning, I almost felt like it was such an honor and a privilege beyond just being a choice to come here. And once just the basics are laid out to you as a charter school and what we aren't given, and that my tax money locally is living in Southlake is going not to Westlake. So to me, it was kind of a no-brainer. Like, I want my kids' education to be maintained at the level that IB requires, and that the teachers are taken care of, and all the amazing things the foundation gives back to the school, and above and beyond even, that it's 100% a no-brainer. And even if there are times where maybe we can't make complete donations to the degree with 4 children, matching 100% what we can. And we have a business and making donations that way as well. And doing stuff like that, it's making a donation so that there'll be 100% participation in each child's grade, and kind of making that to where everyone knows that the community is supported, that everyone has put in the time and the effort. And we were just talking, and I need to actually get on this, like my older kids that are alumni, like that needs to be something we circle back around. And as they're donating to church groups and doing their things and they're older now, like, yes, this is helped you become who you are. Like, we need to make sure that they are the ones giving back. And I've got grandbabies, so we've got 3 or 4 more years before they're here. So let's make sure that it's so important, because that's how this education is continued.
MaryAnn, what about you? What were some of the decision factors that
you know,
motivated you?
we loved, the math equation. It's, the state gives the money, the town so generously, supplements my child's education. And then giving to the foundation seemed like a requirement to us, we wanted that education for our children, and we understand that that's how we're going to get it. So, we felt very strongly that that was our responsibility for each of our children.
You mentioned earlier about your experience in college with your students. Did you see the value of the education returned?
Yes, and I've not heard of a graduate who has not said this, that my children all said that they felt so prepared. We've had, 6 already graduate, but 1 is going off to college now, but 5 are out in the working world out of college. And all felt very prepared as far as, any of the writing assignments and group project. It was just kind of ingrained in them, the group projects. And now I even see in their adult world, in a few of them are in banking. And so it's a lot of deals and development projects. Another one's in advertising, and it's all projects together with groups. And they are all talking about how, it developed their person into a business world.
This is an odd year that our Blacksmith Fund is the town's asked us to, at the foundation, to increase our level of giving to the tune of $500,000, so a substantial sum. What would you say to a young elementary school parent to encourage them, or to rationalize, or to justify, or to explain the need? How would you make that case for the elementary school student? Tonya, you want to?
I would encourage anyone to take a little time and research a little and look back at, the school's new and young, and look at how far we've come in such a short amount of time, and actually look at what the foundation's done and with the money and in such a short amount of time, and what it could do with that increase, and how it would actually benefit their children in the years to come. That's the beauty of the K through 12, I think, is there's so much opportunity for growth. And you look at what we've been able to do in that short 21 years, and the idea of what else can be done, and remaining small. And I think the community has committed itself to certain things, and I love that about it. But there's still so much growth that can be done within. And the heart of it's always going to be there. But I do think that learning the history and the core of it, and kind of do your own research and look into kind of what has been done. And I think that the foundation of all of that, no pun intended, but the actual foundation will prove itself. Like, you actually look into it. And I kind of looked back a little bit before I sat down here, and you forget, like the teachers are loved on continually, which in turn loves on our own children. Like, there's so many little things that we overlook that are because of the foundation. So I think that alone, yes, the money is being used and used well. And the idea, if the town is doing that, there is a great purpose for that. And find out what it is. And my gosh, give what you can give, because the outcome are these children that go on to be these amazing adults. And you can't ask for more than that. So it's worth it.
Thank you. MaryAnn, what would you say to that elementary school student family?
I think it's not surprising now that, costs are going up for things and technology's greater, and we're always trying to be better and do better. We're not the same school years ago, so money, we would need more money to go with change. And I think that's kind of a great thing about Westlake. They're constantly getting together, let's say the town and the school, and coming up with a plan. What can we do to be in the future, to be the best for these students, to be the best for these kids? It's not the same school it was 5 years ago. It's not the same school it was 10 years ago. That's why we want our kids going to the school, because they're constantly thinking about change and the change for the future. So you're choosing, like we chose, to be a part of that program. So again, it's not surprising that you would need more money to go with it. And if you can donate, that that truly helps your child in the future, and you will see the benefits of it. You will.
Well, you have.
Yeah, we have, absolutely.
Close. Can you quantify the return on investment from your time here at Westlake? College savings investment. Like, how much did you save with your college expense?
It varies, obviously, where your child goes. If it didn't show up in scholarship form through different variations, my youngest, it's showing up in a full year. He's going to Colorado University, and they love IB. My son that went to Butler and played soccer, he ended up being able to get a minor in Spanish, and he had to take one Spanish class. So it shows up in all sorts of different ways. He also got other credits and such. And then my daughter also, she always is trying to get scholarships left and right. And I think it's her writing skills from here that is continually allows her to, and I feel like I haven't paid for her college at all, because she's always writing things to get scholarships, and that's fully from her time at Westlake. So it does depend where your child goes to school, and it also depends kind of how they do on their IB exams. But Texas schools in particular love if you actually get your diploma and if it's an actual Texas school. But obviously I was tickled with Levi's school right now, because it's full on coming as a full year's paid. So very excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
MaryAnn?
And again, I would say that varies on the school and the child based on what their degree is going to be. I had kids who, did I think we actually only had one do the full 4 years, but we did have one do a little more than 4. But we had one do 3 years of school because she finished it in time. Another 3, and 2 others did 3.5. So in essence,
got a full year credit.
Yep, and 2 others did 3.5 years. So, there is that flexibility based on their degree. I think that's what it is. I think it gives them flexibility going in. Some will take that based on their degree and use it, and some will not because they want to do, a double major or something else. But it does give them the flexibility. And like Tonya said, some of the schools really give great scholarships for IB. One of our sons did phenomenally with scholarships because of the IB diploma. So it varies on the student and it varies on the school. But you can look into that if that's, someone's goal is to get finished in 3 years. And a number of kids I have seen with graduates do 3 years so that they can take a gap year and then apply to, let's say, a graduate program or something. Gets you ahead there and it saves you the year of school. So it varies, but it is a phenomenal resource.
Is there anything I forgot to ask you guys, or anything else you'd like to tell us about your experience here at Westlake?
I could go on and on and on, but I won't. I think one thing that we talked about is, our last 2 years were kind of doing the 11th and 12th graders, the DP program. And we volunteered senior year to lead sort of all the fun things for for the students. So what kind of school has, where do you get to go into your senior class and host a lunch each month, which is, the love language of teenagers, right?
Food.
And uplift them. And, they get to have it's the DP staff and the seniors together having a lunch, kind of relaxing for a bit during a very busy schedule and a busy year, a challenging year. And there's so many events like that, right? That we get to do all these fun, plan them. And I think that's unique for parents to get to be so involved with their student, but not just their student, the whole class, and parents get to come in and volunteer and serve the food, come in for pictures. That's a special place. And again, you get to do that generally with your little kids. That's very unheard of, I think, with seniors in high school.
It is.
You should run and grab that, in my opinion.
That's a good point.
No, it is. Because usually after, field trips?
Right.
Yeah,
You're done.
fifth grade, you're done.
Yeah, you are done. So
Stay away.
And then
We got 'em.
plan fun other things. There's so many fun things. Senior year.
And I think,
we
yes,
get to do the fun part.
we do. And that people don't recognize most schools, senior years blow off. Oh my gosh, it is not that way here. So it is, I won't say brutal because the kids are prepared for it, but in my world, I couldn't have handled any of this. So for us to be able as parents, and their parents are so generous, to come in and love on these kids while they're doing, and they have to do all sorts of crazy stuff with these IB exams and mock exams and extended essays and what's required of them the last 2 years. And we get, as parents, all come together and be a part of that and love on them and keep their brains active. And it's a huge thing. And it is a community that does it. And the parents all come together and do that. And it's huge.
And I think we get to do the fun part so the teachers can focus on their responsibility, the education part. And that's they just don't have the time to do this part too. So again,
It takes a hard thing and makes it more fun.
it
for
does.
everyone.
It does. And again, it's another way for our students to relax and connect with their teachers, which again is, I think, kind of a nice way that they get to keep those relationships going, even after graduation.
Everybody working together.
By working together and
is fun.
relaxing together and just enjoying a lunch together and so many fun
true.
things. They really got to do a lot of fun things, which is nice.
Thank you for your time. We really appreciate your service, not only today, but over the last 20 years that you've served here. And MaryAnn, how long has it been since you served here?
We have been here, I guess, 12 years.
Thank you for the last 12 years of your service to our school. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.